everybody! Welcome to the GRIMALDI podcast. We have a very special guest with us today. We have author Dennis Brennan. He is an expert in political witch hunts and the author of The DC Swamp Strikes Back. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks, Drew. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
Well, you know, we were having a discussion before we came on here, and that's why I was like, you know, I'm just going to go live because I thought we were having kind of an interesting conversation talking about the Brown University things. That the whole time these press and media people were just totally disorganized, and they're just out there, and it's like you could have not have given a press conference, and we would have been just as knowledgeable about what was going on. Like, they didn't give us any information.
No, it was maybe the worst press conference I've ever seen, or a series of press conferences, because they did it more than once. It's as if the first time they did it, nobody said, "Boy, that was awful. Let's not do that again."
Right.
Because they came right back out and did it again. And at times, it's like, okay, you have a lot of people up there. You have the attorney general, the mayor, the police chief. I didn't really understand. They called him colonel, but he was the police chief.
Yeah, so that was weird. Yeah.
Right. I don't know what the colonel thing is, but you know, they're standing there, and once it comes down to questions, they really can't answer. At one point, the police chief was answering in Spanish, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying now.
Yeah. It was
not
like,
that you said,
yeah.
Right. I mean, if you understood anything he said in English, you're like, well, that's nothing. And
Right.
then he said, then he's answering somebody in Spanish, and I'm like, wait, most of the room and television are saying, "What are you saying?" Is
right.
that?
And
is
then
that
and then you have the sign language person that is confusing even more people.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Well, I always wonder about these sign language people. They do it at concerts now too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever.
Yeah.
And they'll show like the sign language guy making the guitar strumming, and you're like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And who? And you know, I don't know if I'm deaf, I'm probably not going to a concert.
I agree.
And if
I'm
watching television or press conference, I'm probably turning on closed captioning. That's just me.
Right. No, I'm with you 100%. Yeah. I feel you 100% there. That's funny. But yeah, so we were just talking about this too with like the Brown thing, how they were doing such a horrible job telling, well, first, like, okay, they're not related, the MIT professor. And then it was like, you know, they started being like, well, how are they saying that these two things aren't, you know, like that they came out and they said that they weren't related. And then like they walked it back. Like, well, actually they are related. And it was just it was such a back and forth. It was like, you know, like this ping pong of like, what the hell is going on? And I feel like they just did an awful job in those press conferences.
They did. And I think some of that was the Rhode Island people saying at first, no, they're not related. And they didn't know, obviously. Right. And then Massachusetts was saying, wait, there's a lot of stuff here that's similar. Yeah. And when they start looking at it, it's like, wait a minute, it's the same guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, which is, and, you know, then you have beyond that at the beginning, they're telling us we have the guy. I hate that when they say they have the guy and then they don't have the guy.
Right.
It's
yeah.
like,
right. They had to let him go. Like they did that with like Charlie Kirk too. Oh, we got the guy. And it's like, nope, actually it wasn't him. Yeah. It's like, how do you make that big?
And they brag.
Yeah. Oh,
they brag about it. Like,
yeah.
Right. We did it through all this technology. And I always think, boy, people are dumb. They bring their phones with them, and that's how they're tracking them on their phone.
Right. Like they haven't watched an ID channel, you know, type of thing in a while.
Right. Right. If you're planning a murder, probably don't bring your phone with. What are you planning to do? Calling or looking up things? How do I do this?
Getting directions to the nearest landfill.
Right.
You know.
But then when they have the wrong guy, it's awful because especially you have this guy arrested, and, you know, or at least in, you know, custody, perhaps not arrested, but everybody thinks it's him. Well, you know, it's like, hey, I saw the police pick you up. Okay.
Yeah. And I saw a thing. And I saw a thing on like X too, where people were talking about how the Brown shooter was this like LBGT, like I've seen stuff on X. I think Benny Johnson released it that like they were scrubbing their website because this guy was like a pro-Palestinian, and it's like, you know, talk about, well, guess it wasn't him. You know, oops.
Right? Yeah,
It was a tough one to
people.
double down
That's
on.
part of the problem. It's tough on social media, right? Everybody wants to be the first one to say they
Right.
said it.
Yeah,
It's
true.
it's now become like sports with you know, trades or something. You want to be the first guy to say, "Hey, the Yankees have traded someone," and it's like, or they're talking about signing somebody, and you're like, okay, it doesn't matter if you're first. How about get it right?
Right.
And
That's the most
we
important.
now have this same competition. Yeah, we've got this competition now with social media where I have sources that say the guy said, you know, some kind of, you know, El Akbar or some, I don't know what they were.
I'd
There
heard
was
that
something
too.
on there. It's like,
And
yeah,
they wouldn't
did
even
he?
say it that he said it. He
Right.
clearly said it.
Yeah.
But they like
And
wouldn't
that's the
say
problem.
that. And it's like, what are they doing? What are they
Right.
covering up here? You know, like what is it? Who cares? You know, like just give us the
Right.
facts. We
And
can
it's
figure it out ourselves.
right. And we won't take our pitchforks and head over and beat
Right.
our neighbor.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
Go loot shit.
you're an Irish guy. I heard he was Irish. I'm killing you too. What?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But then, you know, to make it, I was thinking of something. Anyways, but they had, you know, so first then they get the wrong guy, you know, and then, you know, the media, they're talking about, you know, how they got the wrong guy and he's out there, but they're not releasing any of the information about what he yelled, about what he said.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there as I'm watching this, and it almost looked like the university was trying to cover it up. That was what I was going to bring up. Okay. So
Yeah.
then on top of all of that, the guy that ends up actually breaking the case open was this guy who is homeless, living in Brown University's basement, who posted this on Reddit and had come forward before as a tip, and they just didn't pay any attention to it until they figured there was some legs to it, maybe. But I thought about this. How weird is it that like they had to be like, well, it's the homeless guy that's in the basement. It couldn't just be the guy that was in the basement. You know,
Right.
It's like they're trying to pre-qualify him for like the 50K. But like, I asked the question too, where's the security in that? Like, we're talking about how bad the security is at Brown University, and you have a homeless guy living in your basement.
Right. Is he
Like,
is he really homeless, or are they allowing him to live there knowing he lives there?
right?
And
Yeah,
well, the whole security thing, you wonder. Every place is so secure. You would
Yeah.
think there's cameras everywhere, but they
I
took
agree.
cameras down up here.
Yeah.
And you know,
How-
it's like
why?
then they why a lot of things like the university explained, well, the doors were open because finals were going on. I'm like, but don't all the students have cards to enter? I mean,
Right. Correct.
why
You
would
would
the
think.
doors have to be open? Well, right, and that's the time. If I'm a student, I don't want anybody else in the university. I want
You would-
just
yeah.
students.
Yeah, and if you were from a university standpoint, that would be the time they're literally sitting ducks. You know?
Right. They're concentrating on their finals or whatever. They're concentrating on their finals or whatever they were taking, and it's like I don't understand why it wouldn't be all locked down. I don't understand why it wouldn't be all locked down.
Yeah,
If you don't have security, fine.
Yeah,
If you don't have security, fine, but at least have entry cards.
Yeah,
And come
I
on,
agree. Yeah, yeah. Some
and
type
we
of
can run
security.
Brown University. I think
Yeah, some type
we
of
can
security.
run Brown University. I think we should become the new security. We should become the new security team.
Yeah, that place.
Team.
Yeah, that place would never be the same. Yeah. So let me ask you this. So you know, so you are the expert in political witch hunts Did you see that Fulton County just recently admitted that they had 300,000 illegal ballots without chain of custody? It's without chain of custody. And they're saying,
Yes.
oops, and Donald Trump lost. And they're saying,
Yes.
oops, and Donald Trump lost Georgia by 10,000 votes. They had the notorious conversation with Kemp at the time. Find me the votes,
Mhm.
10,000 illegal votes, and you got 300,000 of them. But what does the media play? Find me the votes. Oh, he's trying to cheat. The votes. Oh, he's trying to cheat. No.
Yeah.
And then poor Rudy
Right.
Giuliani, you know. No.
Yeah.
And then poor Rudy
Right.
Giuliani, you know. I mean, he's getting just killed. He's getting just killed over there with all these, you know. Over there with all these, you know. By just the political. That's a political witch hunt, you know. Rudy
Yeah.
Giuliani getting taken
Well,
down. But what are your
yeah, I read about this. I actually read about this last night, and I was, you have these 300,000 or so ballots that they counted that weren't, basically initialed. You have to initial in all states. You have to verify that you have to initial in all states. You have to verify that they're really real ballots, and when they come in, they're initialed by both parties, and then put into the pile to be counted. These weren't, so really they were 300,000 invalid votes, and they were out of Fulton County. So the chances are most of them, I don't remember the percentages on how Trump lost there, but it wasn't close in Fulton.
not in,
How Trump lost there, but it wasn't close in Fulton.
not in Fulton,
And
no.
right,
In this whole state of Georgia was like 10,000 votes.
right,
That's
and so it would have made a difference if those votes weren't counted.
Oh yeah,
Which technically they shouldn't have been.
yeah,
It is funny because they said everybody's a conspiracy nut when those types of things were brought up, like
right.
by Giuliani and others. And you're like, but now it turns out to be true, and all they say is, "Yeah, we don't have a defense to that. That's
Right.
We admit that," or something to that effect. It's like, okay, maybe we should have been looking at this at the beginning. Is it important enough to make sure the real votes are counted or not?
Right.
And
Yeah, I agree. It should have been
at least
right,
verify.
especially
Right.
with what was going on at the time. Like, just do the right thing, and and then we got 4 years of Biden, and talk about. There was just too many instances. There was another thing that I read about where there was like the Chinese were dumping like tens of thousands of fake IDs, U.S. IDs for Chinese citizens that were here at the university so that they could go vote, show up, be like,
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I'll have to send you the link on that one. But yeah, it's crazy. So you got that going on. You got that going on. You got the Dominion voting thing that's like oddly flipping ballots and stuff like that. And, and the whole thing is, it's like, I got a nasty letter from the same, like a cease and desist order. I'm not going to talk about too much details, but from the same company, from the same law firm that sued Fox News for Dominion.
Okay.
And it was also the same law firm that sued Mike Lindell for that. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm literally like, I have a little podcast, I'm not that big. I don't like, but I just thought to myself at the time, I'm like, this guy's going after someone like me. Like, dude, just to shut me up. Like, what would, there's bigger players out there. What would they do to take somebody out? And like, we saw that with President Trump, and all of that over the last, 4 years of the political persecutions, lawfare.
Yeah. Well, it's funny with the machines. Over the years, Democrats have complained about the machines.
Correct. There's a video of like Amy Klobuchar or whatever.
Yeah, wanting to get rid of machines and go to paper ballots. Then when, of course, Trump is saying it, well, he's a conspiracy nut.
Right.
And, these and machines, I don't know if they're Dominion or whatever company, but, local elections. I know here in Illinois, I would be involved in elections, and people would walk outside after the precinct, or I'd get a call at the office, depending on what job I was doing in the campaign. And they'd say, so-and-so says he voted for the candidate, but it recorded for someone else at the
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
I'm like, well, he had to say something at the time. We can tell people going in, make sure the vote is that way, but you can't do much once they've recorded the vote.
right,
And this gets into, when they say, well, Trump has lost every challenge. Yes, because you can't really challenge much after the votes are counted.
right,
How do you separate them out?
right.
And,
And even then, yeah,
because we don't
correct.
know.
You could have a bunch of
Yeah.
fraudulent ones in there. And that's why at the
Yeah.
time they were talking, and once they get swept into the general population of ballots, that's it. You
Right.
can't tell who
Which,
who voted for who.
right. Which those 300,000 in Fulton County, if you had separated those out, then there could be a chance to verify them,
Right.
or you can't, and you have to rule them out.
Right.
They're invalid.
Right. And even then, that's a
So-
large amount to not have the proper. I mean, that's a significant amount. Like, if you're doing that many ballots wrong, there should be a criminal investigation into that. Not the other way around.
Well-
hey, we have 300,000 ballots that weren't counted. Why weren't they counted? Oh, because somebody fucked up the chain of custody or whatever,
Right. Well, and that's the thing. You have a lot of instances like that, and the answer is always in every election, well, yeah, there's some fraud, but it doesn't make a difference. Well, yes, it does make a difference.
It does. 100%,
I mean,
yeah. All the little
not
instances.
only right, the little instances really add up, because
They
we're
do.
talking about what, seven states, and of those 7 states, there's really probably 10 to 15 counties that you're talking about.
Right.
And when you break it down, it even goes down to precincts,
Yeah.
where you could steal it in a few precincts. And they talked about that in Wisconsin too in 2020 with Milwaukee.
Yep.
And these people would say you can't steal an election. Yes,
Yes,
you can.
If you hijacked the right places, just several key precincts in some of those key swing states, and I think you could absolutely swing a state one way or the other. Kind of like Wayne County, Trump was like way ahead in Michigan, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, here comes Wayne County, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, there goes his lead. But it's weird.
Well, when you go back to 1960, the Democrats actually kind of weirdly brag about Chicago stealing the election for Kennedy, and
They do, yeah.
They brag about it.
They do.
It's like folklore, like, yeah, look at what we did.
Yeah. Which is crazy too,
So-
because that was always like the one of the that was always one of the more valid conspiracies against Kennedy that I always thought was like, you had like some of the mafia people that helped him get elected with the mafia labor unions, and then Bobby Kennedy, his brother, gets an attorney general and essentially goes after them. And I always thought that was one had legs. I thought, but all the people around it were like, we had nothing to do with it. I mean, that would be a ballsy thing to go after a president, but obviously,
yeah.
they didn't.
Well, if you see, you see some movies. I don't know how far we can trust a movie, but The Irishman, which years ago, they tell that story basically that's what happened, and one of the mobsters was so mad, but they were all kind of mad that they were being targeted, which is kind of funny because you're a criminal.
Right. Yeah.
What did you expect?
What did you expect? Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like they expect. Yeah. They just weren't used to that. They were used to having the inside feels.
Right. I want a free pass. I helped you get it.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody clued Bobby in, I guess.
Yeah. You are freezing up a little bit there, my friend. Hang on here.
Oh.
There you go. I think we got you back.
Okay.
Maybe?
Good.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Different.
Oh, hang on here. Let me see what's going on. I think we're back. All right.
Okay, good.
Hopefully we're good. All right. So, yeah. All right. Perfect. Yeah. I was like, no. Sometimes here in Michigan, we get a little snow and everything goes to hell. So, yeah. So it's like, oh, good Lord. So, yeah. So let me ask you this. So much.
You know, that's a good question. That's a good question. I think it started out, just the Clinton people and the establishment there for a while. As I think it was Barbara Bush first said at the the people are sick of the Bushes. The people are sick of the Bushes and Clintons. You had Jeb Bush running, you had Clinton, and I think she was onto that earlier than anybody else. The people wanted something different. They don't want this. Ironically, it was almost like a monarchy of a couple families.
It was
that they were going to control.
You would have
had
Bushes and Clintons that were like 16 years of two families, if not more. I mean, actually, it'd be more than that because you have the first George Bush.
Right. You had, I mean, it's probably 20-something years, really, when you think of H.W. at 4, and then you had Clinton for 8 years, and George W. for 8 years.
Yeah.
So, and then if you would have gotten Hillary or Jeb,
right,
maybe another 8.
Yeah.
And then maybe, if Jeb loses, he runs the next time. Who knows? It's kind of strange, and we kind of forget that was going on. And Trump was such a change agent, right? He was coming out of, the celebrity side, but I mean, he was well known, but he wasn't known as a politician or as, someone he never was really involved except giving money.
Right. And it was mostly Democrats at the time.
It was mostly Democrats. I guess it's kind of like you hate your ex-wife more than the neighbor that does something to you or whatever.
Right. Well, because that probably cuts you a lot deeper than whatever the neighbor would cut you with, right?
Right. Well, maybe they felt that Trump was theirs, but Trump was smart. He looked at it like, wait a minute, they've paved the way for Hillary to win.
Yeah.
There's no way you can get in there and win. But there's 15 guys standing over on the Republican side. Hey, I'm better known than any of them. I can win this thing. And ultimately they were right. So, it's kind of funny because some of the positions Trump, certainly what he had before he ran, I'd say he was more Democrat than Republican.
Yeah.
And
100%. Yeah.
And even now, some of the stuff he's talking about with workers and, manufacturing, those used to be Democrat positions.
Yeah.
Now,
100%.
I don't know what happened to.
Well, and I was talking about it too, the different change in policy, but like you talk about Mitt Romney was talking about doing away with unions altogether. And then you have Trump come in and, after the Republicans lost, and then finally, you have somebody that comes in that says, here's my conservative values, but like love the unions. And as a guy who did like construction stuff like that, I'm sure he dealt with a lot of them.
Right.
And
I think he learned to work with the unions as they have to be there. Okay, well, I have to figure out how to work with them. Mm-hmm. But I think Trump actually is more pro-worker than, the Democrats of today.
I agree.
And I think, and it might be that he's just pushed them to these positions because they're so against him. It's like, well, if Trump's for it must be bad. Yeah. So I'm going to be against that. It's like, that's a position you held.
He constantly traps them in these like horrible arguments. And he's like, it's like, for example, like men and women's sports. Why would you ever, 10, 20 years ago, that's a bipartisan thing. I mean, what is the point of having, men and women's sports and still having women's sports? Just call it co-ed. I mean.
Right. And eventually you'll just call it secondary men, backup men.
Because it's going to be dominated by the trannies,
Right. So you're going to have, and it is funny that they stake out positions like that.
Yeah.
For that small percentage of people that are on that issue.
Right.
Yet most of the party goes along with it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Democrat voters are like, that's okay. Most of them. I mean, I think Trump did recapture some of the people, younger people especially, are looking at it, and maybe they see it because they're more involved in the college sports. And
I don't think the war on men in general helped the Democrat Party too much. Just their war against toxic masculinity.
Right.
you know.
Right. It's which is really just a war on men. You know, you could
100%.
call it toxic. Yeah,
100%.
toxic masculinity. What is that? I don't like you being a guy.
Right. Yeah.
Well, how do you want me to act?
Right.
You know,
Against my
most guys
natural
like
impulses.
right.
Yeah.
We'd like you to femin up a little bit, would you? Well,
Yeah. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
No. I mean, you have to look at it and wonder, like, why would you do that? Because we are roughly half the voters. I don't know that you want to attack half the voters and say you are the problem.
Right.
And then they kind of zeroed in on white men.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's, but that seemed to also upset black men because they came in bigger numbers to Trump also.
Yeah.
I think they saw it as
I think
it's an attack on all men.
Right. 100%. That the struggle's real for us all, that, that we're all getting attacked, not just, and I think a lot of things too is that, you had the Biden regime that just exacerbated all these social issues till they were just like, oh, shut up, where I think, I remember I was watching a football game with my buddies and I saw that Trump ad during the election where it was like, Kamala's for they, them, Trump is for you. I laughed so hard. It was so funny. And I thought, my God, that is absolutely hilarious. And they're saying that after that ad, that he actually, like, that's when he started soaring in the polls, that ad did a lot for him. And it's like, yes, because you're playing to a very small, loud, but a very small group of people.
Right. And who's watching the football game?
Right.
Mostly guys.
Correct. Yeah.
And they're like, that's, and honestly, that was a great ad. I think it goes up there if someone was to look at, ads of presidential campaigns.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Willie Horton with H.W. Bush, that was a good one. But, there's an ad, not every time, but, many times during the course of these elections. And that might be the one for Trump where people are like, holy cow. And those of us that already knew that maybe weren't moved, but there were a lot of people who maybe are sitting on college campuses, younger guys who were sitting there going, yeah, that kind of encapsulates what I'm kind of feeling about this. And I'm now going to vote for this dude instead of, the other one that I usually vote for.
Right.
Or I don't vote usually.
Yeah.
Or,
right. You're not somebody who typically votes, but something happened where you got red pilled and you're like, oh, I'm going this time.
Right. Right. I mean, a lot of it, Charlie Kirk, a lot of people credit him. And I think he gets some of that credit.
Oh, I was so heartbroken. Like, that was one of the most devastating things ever. Like, my dad is a Kennedy fan. He's got pictures of Kennedy in the basement from his original campaign. He's, and I told him, I was like, after that thing, I said, I will never crack another JFK joke to you again. Because, it was it was traumatizing. Just felt horrible for, like, the family. And, and then to see it that graphically with all these people with their cameras, it's like, I hope the kids never have to see that shit, man.
Unfortunately, that's the thing I thought of. It's like, it's funny. Kennedy is the example. Like if you live long enough, you've seen the Kennedy assassination, the JFK assassination, thousands of times.
Films that just blew it open,
right, and they show you in school, like you learn, you see this, like they'll show it, like, oh, they're doing this, and now Charlie Kirk's kids also young, just like JFK's kids were, and I always think of, I've seen it thousands of times, but if you're Caroline Kennedy or if you were John Jr., you probably saw that even more, but it means a lot more to you. Like, you don't really know your dad at that age. And here I think Charlie Kirk's kids have the same, future ahead where they really didn't know him. They're, because they're still so young. And that's going to be the memory. Oh, dad was shot in the neck. And it's like,
very sad.
It is, because now everything's captured and,
And Charlie was just such a good guy. I didn't know him personally, obviously, but like I felt like I knew him because you watched a lot of the videos with him. And I don't think, I don't think he was ever a different person privately than he was. I mean, I think all of his stances and stuff like that were his own. I mean, I don't think he was ever filtering himself from
Yeah.
saying what he actually felt.
I don't think so. I think he was, speaking, the same thing everywhere. I mean, he was dedicated to this cause that he had, and it's unfortunate that even just being out there speaking, like, not to say that you're a politician and you get killed, that it is different though. That's a risk.
Right.
Like even when Trump was shot, if I
Yeah.
run for office or I hold office, I have a chance. But when you have, Charlie Kirk, what is he? He's a podcaster. I mean,
A Christian
he runs,
preacher almost. you
yeah.
know?
I mean,
That's why a lot of
right.
people.
I mean,
it
how do
was
you
like
get?
a faith thing? I can't tell you how many people he probably turned back to
Yeah.
the faith.
I think he did have a big influence on that, and you see the numbers with younger people, who are back in some church, or at least believing, if nothing else, where that was kind of getting away. And
Yep.
yeah, because he backed everything up with, religious citations for the Bible and what he.
100%. The man could quote, like he'd be like, blah 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 3:6. He'd be able to rattle
Yeah.
off the verses, and I'm like, I read my Bible, but I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm still not able to do that.
No, I'm not. No, I went to a Catholic high school and a Catholic university, and when people would say something about the Bible, I'm like, well, I'm Catholic. I really don't. I can't quote any of that.
Right.
I can tell you some of the stories, but we don't spend a lot of time doing that. Unless you're the priest. So
Right. Yeah. Well, Zoom is yelling at us.